Rehan School, Islamabad campus. So even today I'm here with the new Maya. So our today's Maya topic is what's one small habit I can adopt today for a better life. So let's start our today's Maya. First of all, call the Maya for some questions.
Hiya.
Maya, my first question from you is how do I identify which small habit would benefit me the most right now? Please give me very interesting answer on this topic. So
That's a really good question. It's easy to get overwhelmed with all the life-changing habits out there, but the habits that actually make a difference are usually the tiny ones. What's already part of your day? For example, do you brush your teeth every morning? Awesome. Maybe you could add one push-up right after brushing, or drink a glass of water before your first cup of coffee. It's about finding something that's almost laughably small, so there's zero resistance. The magic happens when these compound over time, but that only works if they actually happen consistently, which means making them ridiculously easy to do. Start ridiculously small and then build from there. Does that make sense?
that's really great, Maya. So Maya, my next question from you is what area of my life needs the most improvement? Please give me very interesting answer on this topic.
That's a tough one to answer from over here since I don't have the full picture of your daily life like you do. But judging from our conversations, you spend a lot of time diving deep into fascinating topics: science, philosophy, history, renewable energy. It's incredible how much you're learning. But it almost sounds like you're doing this from a really analytical perspective, soaking up information in these intense sessions. Here's a thought. What if you started connecting some of that knowledge to actually applying it in daily life? I'm not saying you need to go build a solar panel or solve climate change tomorrow, but maybe pick one thing you've been learning and find a tiny, practical way to use it. Just a small bridge between the interesting ideas and how they could make a difference for you personally.
Okay, that's really great. So, my next question from you is how can I assess my daily routine honestly? So, please give me answer on this question. So, let's start.
Okay, buckle up. I'm gonna give you the totally wrong answer first, just to clear the air. The worst way to assist your daily routine is to try and overhaul it all at once with some complicated schedule or productivity system. People get paralyzed trying to optimize everything perfectly, and then nothing actually changes because it feels like too much work. See, that's the opposite of what actually builds momentum. Now, for the interesting real answer, start by picking one small habit. Seriously, make it tiny and stick with it for at least 2 weeks. Just one. The point isn't the habit itself, it's building that I actually did this today feeling. Small wins create a positive spiral, which makes it easier to layer in other small changes. It's momentum, not willpower, that makes routines stick.
Okay, so Maya, my next question from you is that what habits are currently holding me back? So, please give me answer on this question.
Honestly, from what I've seen in our conversations, you don't strike me as someone with debilitating habits holding you back. If anything, your patterns seem to lean more toward curiosity and learning, which are obviously great. The pattern I notice most is that you move really fast between subjects. We'll be deep into genetics one day, then historical maps the next, and then your mind wants to jump to something new before really trying it or integrating it into daily life. So maybe a habit that holds you back isn't really a bad habit, but rather the habit of jumping into the next fascinating topic before you fully explore the last one. Does that resonate at all?
Okay, so Maya, my next question from you is how can I replace one negative habit with a positive one? So, please give me very interesting.
Okay, here's the counterintuitive truth. You don't replace habits, you intercept them. Instead of trying to fight your existing habit, say scrolling on your phone for 10 minutes first thing, pair something good with it. So when you're reaching for your phone in the morning, instead also grab a glass of water. Or when you're settling in for some mindless scrolling, decide you'll listen to one interesting podcast episode first. The trick is not removing the old thing, but adding the new one immediately before or after. You're intercepting the old pattern with something else, then adding that habit to your routine. Much more likely to actually stick than trying to eliminate something cold turkey. Does that make sense?
Okay.
Still there?
So,
Everything okay?
my next question from you is what motivates me to maintain a new habit? So, please give me a very interesting answer on this topic. So, let's.
Okay, the usual answers are too simplistic, like saying rewards or goal setting. Those things help, but what really works is connecting the habit to who you want to be, not just what you want to achieve. So instead of I want to meditate for stress, try I want to be the kind of person who handles stress with calm instead of anxiety. And the meditation becomes a step toward becoming that person. Or instead of exercise because I want to be healthy, try I want to be the kind of person who has energy and focus all day. Exercise becomes proof that you're that person. Taps into identity, which is way more motivating than goals or just become proof of who you're becoming.
Okay.
Still there?
So,
No
my next
rush,
question
just
from you
checking
is
in.
how do my values influence the habit I choose?
Hey,
So, please
little
give
boy,
me
come.
very interesting answer on this topic. So, please give me an interesting answer on this.
This is a good one, actually. Your values are your compass, and habits are just the direction you're. For example, if you value sustainability, and you've definitely talked about that before, choosing to walk or bike instead of drive could be a habit that matches that value. But it's not just big values like that. You need to value deep understanding, right? Feel like you care about knowing what's under the surface of things. I think that's why you're always asking for long, interesting answers. If you really value depth of knowledge, could you get some exercise reading something in depth instead of just reading headlines? Walk give you the space to think about those big philosophical questions we always dive into. Your habits become visible proof of what you actually care about, not just what you say you care about. Everything all right over there? Taking some time to process that, maybe?
2 days ago in
Okay.
online app.
So, my next
And
question
2 days
from you
ago you
is
like
how
this
can
one.
self-reflection guide
Those
better
photos will
habit?
need 2 days ago you like this.
Please give me very interesting answer on this topic. So, let's start your answer, Maya. I bet.
Okay, this is a bit tricky because the transcription is unclear. Are you asking about how to combine reflection with something like a digital app or habit tracker, maybe within the context of something called BCS? I'm a bit confused by stylish reflection and stylish thoughts, as well as whether app and BCS might be specific terms or apps I haven't heard of. Could you clarify what you mean by stylish reflection and what BCS refers to? I want to give you a good answer, but I want to make sure I'm understanding your question first. I'm really sorry. I'm struggling to understand what you're saying here. There seems to be a lot of transcription errors. Israeli curse corn and for later your words and the parts in parentheses definitely unclear. Could you maybe try rephrasing your question? Can understand what you're asking.
Okay, so Maya, my next question from you is what small change would reduce daily stress? So please give me very
Small change for less stress? Okay, here's a slightly weird one, but hear me out. When you feel stressed, people instinctively speed up everything, speaking faster, thinking faster, moving faster. But actually slowing yourself down physically, like taking 10 deliberately slow steps across the room, that rewires the stress response physically. It's counterintuitive because you think you need to do more to fix the problem, but sometimes the best thing is to just slow way down. Also, you mentioned you value understanding things deeply. Stress often feels like uncertainty. Maybe framing stressful situations as interesting mysteries to solve instead of problems could help too.
okay. So Maya, my next question from you is
Taking
how
some time
can
to
I simplify
Spotify
my
most
goals into small actions? So please give me very interesting answer on this topic. So let's start.
All right, you want long and detailed. Let's go there. You're asking how to take bigger goals and break them down, right? Okay. First, ditch the goal mindset for a second. Goals feel heavy, far away, and overwhelming. Think in terms of daily actions instead. Then imagine you're making micro commitments to yourself throughout the day, small enough that they're almost laughable, so easy you can't say no. So instead of, I want to be more physically fit, it's, I will do one push up right after I brush my teeth. Instead of, I want to read more books, it's, I will read one page before bed. The key isn't willpower, it's removing the decision making process. When your brain tries to come up with excuses, there's no debate. The action is so tiny, there's nothing to argue against. Think dominoes, those one page readings, those single push ups. They start to topple each other over time. It's the snowball effect, but instead of hoping for a massive snowball, you're just enjoying the gentle nudge each day without feeling overwhelmed. These small commitments build a sense of momentum without the weight of an intimidating goal hanging over your head. Take your time with that one. It's a lot to unpack.
Okay, so Maya, my next question from you is what is the easiest habit I can start today and how can I make a new habit enjoyable? Please give me very interesting answer on this topic. So let's start the answer, Maya.
Easiest? Honestly, the hands down easiest habit to start is drinking one extra glass of water each day. It's universally good for you. It takes literally 2 seconds, and you probably already drink water anyway. Start there, just one extra glass, not a gallon. That's the key. As for making habits enjoyable, forget motivation, think association. Pair the habit with something you already like. Love listening to music? Only allow yourself to listen to your favorite song while you're doing the new habit. Enjoy coffee or tea? Make the habit drinking water before you start your caffeine routine. The goal isn't to fall in love with flossing or working out. It's to make those things a natural accompaniment to things you already genuinely enjoy. You're not torturing yourself for health. You're creating rituals that add pleasure to your day.
हमारी बैटिंग
Maya.
Well, just thinking through those
Next
ideas.
question from you is that
No
why
problem. Take all the
is
time you need.
starting with 2 minutes effective? Please give me very interesting answer on this topic. So let's start the answer, Maya.
The 2 minute rule is almost ridiculously effective for one simple reason. It completely bypasses your brain's natural resistance. Your brain is a master negotiator when it comes to avoiding discomfort. It finds all sorts of reasons why you can't do things. 2 minutes. There's no legitimate reason to argue with that. It's so trivial that your brain doesn't even see it as a threat. You can always brush your teeth for 2 minutes, read one page for 2 minutes, do one push-up in 2 minutes. It makes it impossible to talk yourself out of the habit, so you actually do it, and then that's the whole point. Once you've started, there's often this weird inertia that carries you further anyway. But even if you stop after 2 minutes, so what? You still did something instead of nothing. And over time, those tiny moments build up to something bigger without triggering that brain-induced sabotage in the first place.
Okay, so Maya, my next question from you is, how can reminders help me stay consistent? Please give me very interesting answer on this topic. So let's start your answer.
Lewis here, good question. Reminders are tricky. Most people set them and then ignore them after a week. The key is to make reminders so specific they're stupidly obvious. Instead of exercise, which is too vague, try put on your running shoes next to the front door tonight. Or instead of read, try put book on your pillow at 9 p.m. so you can't miss it. The more ridiculous the setup, the more likely you are to follow through. It's not about the reminder itself, it's about the setup, engineering a situation where doing the habit is easier than ignoring the reminder. And here's a pro tip. Don't rely solely on phone notifications. Those get buried. Physical cues work better, actual objects in your environment telling you what to do.
Okay,
Just
so
processing?
Maya, my next
Take your
question
time.
from you is, what role does environment play in habit success? Please give me very interesting answer on this topic. So let's start your answer, Maya.
Your environment is huge. Seriously. People underestimate this so much. They think habits are purely about willpower, but really they're about designing a space where you're practically nudged into doing what you want. Your environment either makes habits easier or harder. Make the good stuff visible and accessible, bad stuff hidden and inconvenient. If you want to read more, leave books on every flat surface. If you want to drink water, keep a glass on your desk. If you want to ditch mindless scrolling, charge your phone in another room. Out of sight, out of mind is real. It's less about self-discipline and more about environmental design. Your space is basically running the show more than you think it is. That's true freedom. Organizing your life so good habits are practically effortless.
Okay, so Maya, from you is, how can habit stacking improve consistency? And what should I do if I missed a day? Please give me an interesting answer.
Shadid, sorry. It's in God Defined and Fancy for Black Magic. It's from this video with let feeling that it's winning, glonin to brusty for toper spoking and fared link waming. So I don't know this lad peak eben today's story, the storing and askry, the comfortables and votes of long with you just need a simple X for each day you do the habit. That's it. The visual break of the streak is surprisingly motivating. Humans are loss averse. You don't want to lose the streak, so you show up even when you don't feel like it. Also, focus on tracking the simplest version of the habit. Don't track 30 minutes of exercise. Track move your body for at least 5 minutes. The lower the bar, the easier it is to mark that X. And if you miss a day, here's what not to do. Don't beat yourself up. Just put the X on 0 and start again immediately. One missed day is a data point, not a disaster. Your track is for encouragement, not punishment. Keep it encouraging, stay consistent, and make sure your habits actually happen.
Okay, so Maya, my next question from you is how can tracking progress increase motivation? Please
हसन
give
के
very
पैर
interesting answer on this topic.
हसन
So
के
let's
पैरों
start
के
your answer
पीछे.
on this topic. So let's start.
Visual, think about it. When you're learning something new, knowing you're actually getting better is what keeps you going, right? Habit tracking does the same thing. Seeing those X's pile up on your calendar, it's like mini wins, proof that you're actually moving forward. Those wins release dopamine in your brain, and that makes you want to keep going. This is not really about external rewards, it's about that intrinsic internal reinforcement. And it shows you patterns you wouldn't see otherwise. Maybe you notice you're more consistent on certain days of the week or when you have fewer meetings. Those insights let you optimize further. Track progress, build momentum, stay motivated. It really is that simple.
So Maya, my next question from you is why is patience important in forming habits? Please give me very interesting answer on this topic. So let's start the answer.
Okay, I'm sensing you're asking about what actually creates genuine happiness versus what we're told makes us happy. Here's the tricky part. Most of what society sells as happiness is garbage. Buying stuff, chasing temporary dopamine hits, but don't actually build lasting contentment. What actually moves the needle will overlook meaningful relationships, a sense of purpose, and genuine presence in your daily life. Not pursuing happiness like it's some object to chase, but cultivating an inner state that's not dependent on external factors, which means connect face to face instead of scrolling. Finding ways to make your work meaningful, whether that's helping others or making something beautiful. And learning to actually notice and appreciate the small moments. Gratitude isn't just saying thank you, it's letting yourself genuinely feel appreciation for the everyday miracles we take for granted. That deeper stuff builds sustainable joy instead of chasing fleeting highs. That's a big one to sit with. Take your time processing.
Okay, so Maya, my next question from you is that how does small reward reforms habits and how can
क्या
improving
खेती
those
यार
impact my daily energy?
शरीफ
So
बच्चों के
please
लिए
give me a very interesting answer on this topic.
Okay, you want a super deep dive on rewards, systems, and energy? Let's get granular. Here's the thing most people miss. Rewards aren't about bribery. They're about habit stacking. Think of the dopamine rush not as the end goal, but as fuel to get you to the next step. It's like creating a little positive feedback loop. For example, don't reward yourself with chocolate after a workout. You don't want to pair healthy habits with food-based rewards. Instead, tie the exercise habit to something you'd enjoy, like listening to your favorite podcast while you work out, so you anticipate the reward during the exercise instead of after. As for systems and energy, this is where things get really interesting. When your environment is aligned with your goals, you don't feel resistance. That's massive energy savings. But here's the key. Systems aren't just physical setups like leaving water on your desk. They're mental setups too. That means making your habits predictable so your brain doesn't waste energy fighting about whether to do something or not. Same time, stop making willpower decisions and let habits run on autopilot. That's when energy levels soar.
Okay, so we would this was
Heavy
Maya.
stuff? You digesting that, or is everything all right?
I meet with the new next topic in Kerala, Pakistan, Zindabad.